Welcome to the Mirage and the Truth. I want you to take a deep breath and just think for a second. Think about how utterly exhausting our modern obsession with chasing titles, accolades, and social status has really become, right? We spend so much of our waking lives trying to prove our worth to the world, running this relentless race that honestly feels like it has absolutely no finish line. Well, in today's explainer, we're going to dive into some fascinating source material that cuts right through all the noise of this modern fatigue. We're going to unpack a perspective that reveals the stark reality behind our nonstop pursuit of worldly success. Okay, let's get right into it. To really contextualize why we act the way we do, the source material introduces us to a profoundly ancient Quranic concept that maps out the specific stages of human life. Now, while it outlines 5 stages in total, we are going to zoom straight in on the 4th stage. It's a concept known as tafakhur, which translates to boasting. This is that stage of human life driven by a deep-seated need to just flaunt our achievements and elevate our worldly status above everyone else's. It's that point where simply participating, that's not enough anymore. We feel this overwhelming urge to prove we're better, more successful, and just more important than the people around us. So, how do we actually get to this 4th stage? The timeline starts off innocently enough with phase 1, childhood play, where life is literally just about having fun. Then, as we grow, we slide into phase 2, amusement. Think of those endless hours you spend mindlessly scrolling just to pass the time and find a distraction. Phase 3 shifts into a total obsession with adornment, where appearances and looking perfectly put together become everything. But then, after all of that, we hit the heavy reality of phase 4, adulthood boasting. The child who once just wanted to play is now the adult who's absolutely desperate for recognition. Let's pick up the pace a bit here because this is where the modern rat race really kicks into high gear. The source captures exactly what this boasting looks like in our lives today. It's that desperate, burning need to prove you're number 1 in your graduating class. It's the absolute obsession with making it onto a top 40 under 40 list in your industry. It's making absolutely sure everyone knows you work at the most highly prestigious elite institution. We literally spend years, sometimes decades, sacrificing our peace of mind just to secure these little bullet points for our resumes and social media bios. And this is where the source offers some truly brilliant insight. On one hand, you have the dazzling outside. To everyone looking in, these achievements look spectacular, right? They sparkle. They command respect in boardrooms and at fancy dinner parties. But on the flip side, the source reveals a pretty meaningless reality. If these accomplishments stem purely from pride, arrogance, or just wanting to show off to others, if they're deeply rooted into fakhur, then they hold absolutely zero weight in the hereafter. Sure, they might be heavy in the eyes of society, but they are entirely weightless in the grand, eternal scheme of things. So the crucial takeaway here is this. We have to take a step back and really reflect on this illusion of worldly success. Think about it. How easily do we all get trapped in this exact illusion? We get so incredibly caught up in the day-to-day grind, the networking, the next big promotion, that we completely miss the bigger picture. We actually start believing that the mirage is the final destination. To truly help us wrap our heads around this illusion, the source transitions into this incredibly profound and beautiful Quranic metaphor. I want you to imagine a heavy, nourishing rain falling on dry earth. The water soaks deep into the soil, bringing life to a tiny seed that's been hidden away. It's a moment full of incredible promise and potential. Let's follow this plant's life cycle step by step, just as the source lays it out. Step 1, that beautiful rain falls. Step 2, a thriving, vibrant green crop emerges. It grows tall, it looks incredibly healthy, and it absolutely thrills the farmer who planted it. The farmer looks out at this lush green field and thinks, wow, look at what I've achieved. This is going to be a massive, abundant harvest. It feels like the peak of success, the absolute pinnacle of the plant's life. But then, the source describes an unexpected twist. And I want to slow down for a second here because this is a very solemn reality. Instead of that joyful, celebrated harvest the farmer was banking on, there is a sudden, shocking transformation. Right at the height of its beauty, the vibrant green plant begins to wither. The life is just instantly drained right out of it. It fades completely. The source paints this really sobering picture of the once thriving green plant turning a sickly yellow, becoming dry and brittle until it crumbles into worthless, trampled dust. In the blink of an eye, what was once the farmer's greatest pride and joy is reduced to scattered debris blowing away in the wind, holding absolutely no value whatsoever. And that brings us to a direct, undeniable parallel. That thriving plant suddenly turning to yellow dust, it is exactly like the human being who spends their entire life engrossed in boasting, playing, and showing off. You might grow tall, you might accumulate the prestigious titles, the money, the admiration, you might be the greenest plant in the whole field. But just like that plant, our season of life is incredibly short and it all inevitably fades. This brings us to the ultimate reality check. Life is a remarkably short journey. The end comes without warning, often catching us entirely by surprise. And when it does, everything we boast about, the money in the bank, those impressive corporate titles, the endless hours wasted on social media gossip and distractions, it can all suddenly equal zero. When harvest time comes, if all you've cultivated is worldly pride, you're going to be left holding nothing but a mirage. But the narrative pivots here, and this part is absolutely crucial. When the illusion of this world inevitably ends, the source states there are only two paths left. This is the ultimate choice every single person faces. We will either face severe consequence for wasting our lives chasing a mirage, or we will find profound forgiveness and eternal pleasure from God. There is no middle ground when the dust finally settles. So, what's the action plan? Well, the source gives us an ultimate directive: race to forgiveness from your Lord. Notice the language there. It doesn't say stop racing altogether. It says change the direction of your race. Instead of frantically racing one another for fleeting worldly titles, trying to be on that top 40 list that'll eventually turn to dust, we're commanded to redirect all of that energy and race toward divine forgiveness. The real goal is to seek that ultimate forgiveness and strive for a paradise described in the source as being as vast as the heavens and the earth. To put that into perspective, it's unimaginable. But here is the key takeaway. This vast, eternal reward is reserved specifically for those who actually wake up and understand the reality of this short, unpredictable life. It's for those who let go of the illusion, rather than those who spend their precious, limited time lost in endless amusement and empty boasting. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Look at your own life. Look at the race you're currently running so hard to win, and ask yourself honestly, when the green inevitably fades to yellow, what will your titles really be worth?